Welcome to a special summer bonus episode of the Food Professor Podcast, recorded live in our on-site podcasting studio at the SIAL Food Innovation Show in Toronto.
Over 3 great days in May, Sylvain and I met dozens of food innovators and thought leaders. These are their stories.
I'm sure you will enjoy hearing these incredible interviews as much as we enjoy hosting the conversations. Stay tuned for Season 4 of the Food Professor Podcast, Canada's top food industry and Canadian-produced independent management podcast, when we return live on the mic Thursday, September 21st.
Deolinda, welcome to the Food Professor Podcast. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Well, my pleasure. So, as many of the listeners may know, my wife is from Portugal, so I was naturally drawn over to the Portugal booth here at the SIAL show, and I wanted to find out a little bit more about what you're doing here at the show and what's going on in Portugal. I see you got some products that are very familiar to me and some that are not familiar to me. So, let's start at the beginning. Who are you and what do you do for a living?
Okay, so I'm the executive director of PortugalFoods, which is a Portuguese cluster. We represent the food industry along with universities and R&D centers. And what we do is to promote Portuguese food and beverage industry abroad. And we have a lot of work with the companies on innovation and also internationalization.
Okay.
So,
and where are you based? Are you based in the mainland, as I would call it?
Yeah, we are in Portugal, in near Porto.
Okay.
But we represent all the national territory.
Yeah.
We have, I would say, right now 170 members.
Okay.
But we work with other companies that are not our members. We work with everybody, and it's nationwide representation. Yeah.
And what I guess it's a bit of a funny question, but what brings you to SIAL? Obviously, it's to bring Portugal to Canada, look for distribution. But you tell me why would you come here and what you do?
Yeah, usually we have 20 to 30 actions every year to promote the Portuguese food and beverage industry abroad. And so Canada is a very important market, of course. And so we came to SIAL, which is a very well-known show, a trade show. And we come with some companies to promote their products. So we are here with 4 companies, and also a R&D project, a huge mobilizing project. That's what we have over there at the Portuguese booth.
So take me into your world a little bit. When I think of Portugal, I think of dairy and cheeses. Of course, I think of wines. But tell me about the what's new and what innovation looks like, and what kind of new products you're hearing about.
Yeah. So some people know that Portugal is very well known for the gastronomy, culture, and of course, usually our food industry used to be, and it is still a very traditional one. Also, very family-owned companies. But for the last, I would say, 20 years, a huge transformation happened.
Since you joined the EU, right? I mean, that had to be the big transformation, right?
That was
I was in Portugal. The first time I was in Portugal is when I got married 27 years ago. So that was but I've been there a bunch of times. I've seen a pretty big change over the years, right?
Yeah, I would say in all sectors of the economy, but in the agri-food sector, a lot of transformation and innovation is really a key word. So our companies, the good companies, the ones that export, are always innovating in process, also in product. So they are very well prepared right nowadays to face the external markets. But of course, always a big challenge for a small country, which is based in one of the western points of Europe, very far to go east. But of course, and we have the Atlantic between North America, Brazil, and Latin America. But of course, it's very interesting to do the work with the companies, and I think that our industry is really modernized. And also, we have, we are very flexible, and sometimes that is a good thing to work with other countries. And also we had this work led that we are already known and recognized as a quality partner, a very quality, flexible partner. So a good supplier for American. Yeah.
So when I think of Portugal, I think of seafood, of course, as I was saying, the olive oils. What does innovation look like in those categories? Like it's a bit hard to innovate around sardinish and olive oil. But talk about what innovation actually looks like. You had talk about some of the products.
Yeah. Mainly in those kind of products, for example, very different products. You talked about sardines. We could also speak about tuna, or the category of canned fish is really a very innovative one.
That's really taking off now, right? The canned sardines, in very bespoke.
Very
I was in
trendy,
Spain last week, and they were everywhere. And I imagine I got some Portuguese ones as well. It's big now. It's interesting, right? Big now.
Yeah, the companies that we have in Portugal, I don't know really how many companies, not much, but the ones that exist, I think 7 companies more or less. They are really very, very good companies, and they do a lot of innovation. In product, of course, but also in the packaging, also, of course, marketing, and the quality of the products like mackerel, sardines, tuna, sometimes with different, the olive oil, the organic olive oil, or seaweed. So there's a lot of development in the composition of the final product, not only the sardine, but so the sardine in tomato sauce, with it's really a trendy product right now because
I've seen pictures of a store in Lisboa that's nothing but a store of canned food. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. We have them several in Porto, also in Lisbon, also in Aveiro. It's a company that developed this kind of business.
I would have never imagined such a thing 20 years ago.
Yeah, and what they have is that all is canned fish, and then you have the data. You have the years in the can, so you can offer someone in the year that you were born or the year that you were married, something like that.
Come on, that's
just
great.
To celebrate with a canned
fantastic.
fish. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, let's talk about your other big industry, wine, port wine.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've watched over the years, I mean, the port wine industry was British owned. It was like foreign owned largely, but I've seen the Portuguese wine community grow and really work on the Douro grape and come into its own a little bit. Is that the way you think of it as well? Yeah.
If you talk about port, it's very strong and the most well-known kind of wine abroad. The work that has been done mostly by, of course, a lot of companies, as you said, are English-owned. Yeah. The families that live.
Going back in the history of how it all happened, right?
But they live in Portugal for some generations. And they are very strong. The exports of port wine are a little bit stable, I would say. Maybe starting to grow again now, but where we are really growing a lot is table wine.
Sure.
Because Portugal is a very small country, but we have hundreds of grape varieties. It's a very different situation from some other countries, There are the staple grape varieties, well known everywhere in the States, in the New World wine countries. But we have such a variety. For example, in the north part of Portugal, above Porto, we have
that's the Douro wine region.
That's to the east.
Okay.
If you go north, you have a very specific region, which is Vinho Verde, very fresh.
Oh, with a little sparkle to it. That's delicious.
A little sparkle, very fresh, white, and also red, but mostly white. And for example, the U.S. market is very keen to that kind of product. It's very good in summertime with fish, with shellfish. It's really, really. It's an example, and you only have Vinho Verde in that part, the region of Portugal.
Right.
Nowhere else in the world. And Douro, of course, Douro is it's an amazing place, very unique place in the world. And of course, the wine is very, very good.
So when you think about, you cover the world, what's your major countries? Is it, from an export perspective, would it be America, China? Like, what are the top kind of 3 or 4?
3/4 of our exports go to Spain.
3/4 go to Spain?
Yeah, so as you see, our neighbors...
Right next door.
Yeah, it's quite...
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I was surprised.
Yeah, it's really and always increasing. So they are really our main partners.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to go Spain. It's over there, right?
Sure.
So, but of course, we are investing and we are preparing companies to go to other very important markets. With COVID and also now with the Ukraine war, we are working more specifically and also by demand of the companies.
Right.
U.S., Canada.
Expand this way.
To expand this way. Of course, that like one month ago, we were in Japan at FoodX Japan. So very interesting exhibition.
Is that new that would be a new market, newish market for you?
Yeah, it's still new because we have only a few companies going there, but we have been working and preparing Japan for a long time. It's very, very interesting, a lot of potential. And also a very difficult but trusty market. Yeah.
I know that I talked to some grocery buyers, and you would do things like junkets to take buyers over to Portugal to experience. Is that part of your trade craft?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
You come here, but also you bring people over there.
And these kind of events, the inward missions, or they are trade missions. They are very, very important for our companies because, first of all, it's very easy for them, okay? Because we do the matchmaking. We prepare the companies and also the buyers. They select the companies they want to meet with. We prepare them, so it's very effective, and we do it usually at PortugalFoods offices, and very, very good and strong opportunities for business for the companies. Yeah.
Very good. What's next? What's next that you're working on for 2024? Are you growing the base of companies that participate in the program, or are you continuing to export? Are you trying to figure out the UK with their, the Brexit thing? I mean, have you guys got a deal with the UK yet? I mean, there's no shortage of opportunities and challenges, I guess, in your job, right?
Yeah, of course, UK is right now is very specific. We have to work that very specifically because everything is a little bit changed.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's a challenge because they need European products, of course. They are not self-sufficient. Of course, they have their main partner in crime, I would say, which the US, right?
Yeah.
But we will do some things there over there.
Because everyone has to negotiate their own deal, I guess, with the UK now. And
that's it. We have to. We are going there for a trade show in 2024. Yeah, okay. And also do some events, more gastronomy. With chefs, more different kind of events.
Okay.
Yeah, but what we want for 2024, we are starting new projects to support the companies, and we will, of course, work in the markets that we have been working, like of course Canada,
grow
US,
and develop,
and we are always trying to understand more about other markets, and we do it indoor. We do it ourselves first, to see the potential of the market. Let's say in Middle East is important. Of course, we're not talking about Dubai or the Saudi Arabia, which are important markets.
Sure.
But other...
Latam, I mean, you must be fairly busy obviously in Brazil, Brazil Colombia.
Colombia. We are right now, Southeast Asia too, but of course, we are preparing right now a specific event with Colombia, for example. But Brazil, of course, it's very important for us for all the reasons.
and your assessment of the show, good conversations, is it worthwhile for you? The show, it's been a good show for you. Everyone asks, hey, is it a good show for you? How has it been for you?
Yeah, I would say it's going well. We had some problems with some products in the beginning. It's getting them in. Yeah. The fresh produce, it's always a problem.
Sure.
Very difficult. But now some companies more happy, others less. But it's always like that, right?
Right.
Yeah. But it's quite busy. Yeah.
All right. Well, if people want to get in touch with you or your organization, how do they do that? What's the best way?
So we are open arms for everyone in Portugal. We are a team of 10 people near Porto, as I said before. And if you look at the webpage of our PortugalFoods.
PortugalFoods. Is that PortugalFoods.org?
.org,
okay.
yeah.
PortugalFoods.org.
We also have our Facebook, our LinkedIn page, also Instagram. So very easy.
Very active.
Yeah, and if you want to send us an email, and we will respond, yeah.
Well, perfect. So I'll put some of that in the show notes. You can send me some of those links. I'll put them in the show notes. Thank you
very
so
much
for spending a bit of time with the Food Professor podcast. It was nice to meet you, and I've got lots of Portuguese listeners from family, so I'm sure they'll enjoy the conversation.
Hope so. Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you like what you heard, please follow us on Apple, Spotify, your favorite podcast platform, so you can catch up with all our great interviews, including celebrity chef, restaurateur, and entrepreneur, Chuck Hughes. These summer SIAL bonus episodes of the show will be released every Thursday, and be sure to tell all your friends and colleagues in the food service, grocery, and restaurant industry all about us.
I'm Sylvain Charlebois, the food professor, author of 8 books, and senior director of the Agri-Food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University.
And I'm Michael LeBlanc, consumer retail growth consultant, keynote speaker, and producer and host of a series of retail trade podcasts, including this one. You can learn more about me on LinkedIn. Have a safe summer, everyone.
Bon été tout le monde.